George Lucas has endorsed Bob Iger in the proxy fight against Nelson Peltz. But there's more to the story than meets the eye. We've made the connections with a little help from Valiant Renegade. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and I am here with Mr. Vash Sky. Vash, what do you know today?
Well, I know that as your Wookiee co-pilot, I'd be doing the Wookiee scream right now if I could, because there you go. Because this is ridiculous. How could George Lucas do this? Well, we have some information to indicate that maybe it's not all that meets the eye here, but we'll get into it.
I do believe there is more than meets the eye to this story. Okay, let's first of all point out to anybody who is not aware of the situation, George Lucas has backed Disney CEO Bob Iger in the proxy fight with Nelson Peltz. This was published Tuesday, March 19th at 7 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We'll be living with that daylight time forever, it sounds like. Filmmaker and Hollywood legend George Lucas is endorsing Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger in a bitter proxy battle launched by activist investor Nelson Peltz. I would agree, it's getting pretty bitter. Lucas is currently the largest individual investor in the company, multiple sources confirmed to CNBC. He got 37.1 million shares when Lucasfilm was bought by Disney. So I'm going to guess at this point he has less than 37.1 million, but who knows at this point? What they're basically saying is he has more than 25 million shares, which is what Nelson Peltz has. His support is key because of his shareholder status and his standing in Hollywood. Well, that might be the case. This many different outlets are reporting this as if it came from the ranch, which I don't know that George Lucas is actually at Skywalker Ranch anymore, but here we are. Here is the statement that is purported to be from George Lucas. Creating magic is not for amateurs. Okay, let's stop right there. Creating magic is not for amateurs. That does not sound like George Lucas to me. That sounds like a Disney PR statement. It also sounds a little bit mean for George Lucas. Vash, is there a long history of George Lucas saying unkind things directly to people?
He really does not. Now, Bob Iger might say something like, magic, but George Lucas really wouldn't. George Lucas is very much kind of an old school guy. He would say creating stories or something. Also, too, when he wouldn't throw shade like this in this way in a public setting like this. He'd be much more covert about it. Now, obviously, he has been known to throw a lot of shade at old-fashioned people owners, and I'll just put it like that for YouTube.
Yes, he did compare Bob Iger to a particular ethnicity of people who take people and sell them.
Right, but he wouldn't say it like he wouldn't say magic like this. He'd use the term stories or something else. It just doesn't sound like him. It's hard to explain.
It really doesn't. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney and Bob's track record of driving long-term value. I have voted all my shares for Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same. Doesn't that sound like George Lucas?
It doesn't sound like him at all. This is preposterous. He would never. I've voted all my shares or use some kind of some financial terminology like that. He wouldn't say that. This is somebody who is like somebody in the financial world or on Wall Street who would say this. This isn't necessarily George Lucas. And by the way, I do agree with you when they're saying from the ranch. Well, Skywalker Ranch was sold along with the other assets of the, in 2012 with the Lucasfilm purchase. So
right, that's now Disney property. It's the location for Skywalker Sound, among other Lucasfilm production facilities. I don't know if he still has an office there. I think that would be nice if they were respectful enough to him that he has an office there. I would have to imagine that Kathleen Kennedy probably has that office now. I don't know. I don't know how the ranch works. It's always been a mystical place in my mind, but generally, when you don't work there anymore, you don't keep an office.
Right. Now, I'm sure he has some other ranches, maybe, who knows. But when
Maybe.
you say the ranch, people are thinking that this is Skywalker Ranch, and clearly that can't be the case.
Yep, and let's move on to this next paragraph here, where it gets a little bit more interesting. Disney has lined up a number of high-profile endorsements in its battle against Peltz and his firm, Trian Fund Management, from the heirs of Walt and Roy Disney to J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon. Well, believe it or not, this is not coincidence. This might actually be causality. Let's go over here and take a look at this one. Jamie Dimon endorses Disney CEO Bob Iger in proxy fight with Nelson Peltz's Trian partners. This from about a week ago.
Right.
And right here we see J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon endorses Disney CEO Bob Iger in his proxy battle with activist Trian partners. CNBC David Faber has learned. Bob is a first-class executive and an outstanding leader who I've known for decades. He knows the media and entertainment business cold and has the successful track record to prove it. It's a complicated industry filled with creative talent requiring the unique expertise and engagement skills that Bob possesses. Putting people on a board unnecessarily can harm a company. I don't know why shareholders would take that risk, especially given the significant progress the company has made since Bob came back. When I was talking with Valiant Renegade earlier about this, he pointed out that that Jamie Dimon might be one of the most powerful men in the world because of his position as the head of J.P. Morgan Chase.
Right. His position on Wall Street is, I mean, it's legendary. Obviously, him being the CEO of J.P. Morgan. I mean, it puts you in a very big position right there. So
yes,
when you have
rarefied
somebody,
air.
right, if you have somebody like this who is endorsing Bob Iger, I mean, people are going to obviously be listening. But like you said, there are connections to be made here for sure.
Oh, there are, and I'll cut to the chase here. If you look over, I'll cut to the J.P. Morgan Chase. Oh my, I can't believe that. Look at that. You would think I intended it. If you look at their board of directors, oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week, folks. Remember to tip your waitress on Tuesday. Jamie Dimon, there he is, smiley fellow right there. And look at this. Do you know who this is? This is Melody Hobson. I don't know how many of you know Melody Hobson, but she has been the CEO, co-CEO of Ariel Investments LLC, an investment management firm since 2019, and president and director since 2000. She also serves as chair of the board of trustees of Ariel Investment Trust. This is she has quite the resume here. But
And
you
she's
know
been
what
on the board
else?
since 2018. Is that correct?
That's true. That's true. Now, the thing that I also find very interesting about Melody Hobson is that she is also the wife of George Lucas.
Oh, well, that is interesting. The wife of George Lucas since what, 2013? Is that right?
I'll believe you on that. I didn't take a look. I do know that by the time that The Acolyte comes out, and we will be talking about The Acolyte on this channel sometime very soon, if not already. When The Acolyte comes out, George Lucas will be 80 years old, and Miss Melody Dobson here will be 55. A 25-year gap, which is less important once you start getting up there once you get above 50. I don't think anybody cares.
Right, but when it comes to maybe managing an estate, maybe managing the financials, maybe, making arrangements, let's say, well, that age gap becomes a little bit more pronounced, and usually the younger person tends to do that for you in a relationship such as this one.
Yeah, I would say I would say that's true. And going back over here, saying Disney has lined up a number of high-profile endorsements. Again, the heirs of Walt and Roy, and also Jamie Dimon. And there are going to be other endorsements that come out. Obviously, Value Act Capital has endorsed Bob Iger. There are reasons why J.P. Morgan Chase and Value Act might have some more than just their stock value. They might have some intrinsic what's an incentive to endorse Bob Iger. But looking over here, I found that fascinating that we're all over here contemplating. Oh well, maybe George made some kind of deal in order to get Kathleen Kennedy out of there, and maybe some ulterior motive. I understand the thinking behind that theory, but this to me kind of puts the nail in the coffin on the idea that it was anything other than George Lucas's wife, who is also associated with Jamie Dimon, and Jamie Dimon, who is closely associated with Bob Iger. I see the chain here, and this doesn't raise more questions for me. This is the simplest and according to Elon Musk, the most entertaining answer is the most likely one. So
these are favors amongst friends. These are, obviously Jamie Dimon probably has a financial incentive to do this. And it's this whole big group, by the way, you're not in it, is taking it upon themselves in order to entrench Iger in his position as much as they possibly can.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point. And by the way, and I want to say, because I missed the wedding, I want to congratulate Melody Hobson and George Lucas on their marriage and their nuptials. I wish you many happy returns. But also, can you please fix Star Wars? If you have any say on that whatsoever, please, I'm begging you. This stuff really seems to stink.
We very much are, and we'll get to it, folks. But the Acolyte trailer. After seeing that, please, George, we need you. Stop this. Come back to the light side.
We've got more to talk about on the Acolyte, but of course, until that time, please, if you've watched this video and you found it informative, like this video. If you like this video, consider subscribing. If you got a comment on there, just leave a comment. Tell us what your thoughts are on this blessed arrangement, and of course, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.